Wait, is this thing on? Can y'all hear me? Okay, here we go.
Woo! Just a dash. Just a dash. Just a dash. Just a dash.
Hey, sweet peas. Before we get into today's conversation, I just want to take a quick moment to ground us where we're at. Whether you have been listening to this show since the first season, or you started with season 2, or today is your very first episode, Just a Dash has always been an incredibly special project and space for me. It's a bit of a personal diary and also a place to reconnect with the people who constantly inspire me and who I learn from. And when I started this second season, I did something a little bit different. I knew I wanted the overarching theme to be home, but a big motivation for that is because, at least for me, you cannot talk about home without talking about the chosen family that sustains it, friendships. But I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. Leading into this episode, I didn't actually know who I wanted to have this specific conversation with. And that actually is a good problem to have because that means I am blessed with really good friends. But I was stalling on who could help me explore this topic holistically because, truth be known, we have friends for many different things in life. You have people who you go to about really serious stuff and, it's the deep talks. You have people who you collaborate with creatively. You have people who you love to go to movie night with or karaoke night with, or that person who is going to party all night long with you. Like, we have friends who can fit so many things that we need. And then we have people who fit the complete bill. And I'm really, really grateful that I have friends who kind of cater to all spaces of my being and my mind. But here's the reality. The last time I hung out with these two guests you're about to meet is when it completely crystallized for me. Because we were just sitting together, sharing the kind of things you usually hold on to because you don't know where you can safely put them. And in that moment, I realized that these two women are some of the safest spaces and minds that I've been gifted with on this journey. They truly represent the way that I've evolved here in New York. They've seen me grow both professionally and personally. And for a long time, and still, they are people that I deeply look up to. But over the years, I can see how our dynamic has beautifully shifted into absolute equality. They are a steady, enduring, and sure thing. And it's a little bit of a spoiler, but later in the episode, I share that friendship is the ultimate definition of security for me. And that rings true with these two people. So I am deeply honored to introduce today's guest, Samara Berger and Camille Wilson. Samara is my very own Good Samaritan, a people first leader, an advocate, and your future executive coach who has built a career and a beautiful perspective around creating meaningful human experiences and growing with intention. She's a self-proclaimed professional mermaid, which I might have helped with, and a true beach lover who loves a sunrise or passport stamp. But my personal favorite attribute is that she's a Scorpio, which means she will always tell you the truth. And she's the thing one to my thing two. And Camille Wilson. Camille is my favorite level-headed icon. A brilliant New York City-based cocktail creator, author of 3 fantastic books, including Free Spirit Cocktails, and the founder of The Cocktail Snob, where she teaches home bartenders how to mix with confidence. When she's not creating delicious recipes or shopping for glassware because my girl is obsessed, she's inspiring young minds at her day job. And my favorite thing about Camille is that she truly is the coolest Libra that I know. Her presence is quiet but known. And if someone ever bothers her, they're automatically on the shit list. Because who the heck doesn't like Camille? Together, the three of us go way back to our days working together at NYU, where our bond organically grew from work wives to real life family. Now, before you get to hear a gaggle of girls just gabbing, seriously, say that 5 times fast, I do have some bittersweet but also triumphant news to share. This is officially the second to last episode of this season. the second season of Just a Dash, and this podcast. You get one more closing episode with me and your favorite, my co-producer, JP. And we'll wrap it all up and say goodbye to Just a Dash, at least for now. But because this journey has been so soul-changing for me, there was no better way to embrace a new chapter than sharing a room, a laugh, and a few spritzes with the women who feel like a soothing balm for my soul. And with that said, let's jump on in. All right, let's go. Or who I learned from, but I knew in particular that I wanted this season to be about home, and I knew that a big part about home for me is friendship. But leading into that episode, I didn't know who I wanted to have the conversation with friendship around. And from the beginning of this season, y'all, I was like, which friend? JP was too on the nose. I was like, I talk about certain people a lot, but I don't know who I'd have this conversation with that it would feel holistic and that you would really get a viewpoint of what friendship is like in adulthood and how you cultivate those relationships and why they're so important and why they matter in terms of sustaining your home, sustaining your life. The last time we hung out, I don't remember what the conversation was, but I remember in that moment, I was like, oh, obviously these are the two people I need to talk about friendship with. And it was because I realized you are both two people. When I met you, there was this instant comfortability that I felt with the both of you. There was this instant, like, I feel like I would get along really well, or I know them, but it was also this, I don't know how they feel about me. We were in this work environment. There was like all these different factors that kind of structured our friendship differently, the way that it came to be. But then when it came to be, it just clicked. And we've kind of been inseparable ever since. And that's not something I'd ever experienced in adulthood before with friends, particularly with women who weren't queer. Like there were so many different things that make our friendship so unique, so stable for me. And it's just one of those things that sustains so naturally and organically. And it felt like such a perfect representation of what friendship means to me now and how I source it. And I wanted to talk about that with you both because A, you're both incredibly wise, evolved, mature, kind, compassionate people, but you inspire me when it comes to friendship, just the friendship you both share with one another, because I came into that. Just so y'all know, we have a trio name, which is Kashmira, but it was originally Camara. And I entered the fold. And so you made space. And so I got to see your friendship on display first before I even was a part of it. And that alone was such a beautiful thing to witness. So I'm really grateful that you're here to have this conversation with me. There's so much that you make space for in my life and the ways that you hold me. But I really want to explore how you look at friendship, how it shaped your lives, especially when you think about when you were younger in comparison to now, and why it's such an important part of shaping home. Ready? Okay.
Honored.
Yay! So say hello to the listeners, y'all.
Hello, listeners.
Okay, and which one's Samara?
I'm Samara.
I'm Camille.
Just so that you have the distinction of our voices, because even though we've been doing some video, I've been experimenting with other episodes, and this one, it's purely our voices, which are beautiful and harmonious. So, okay, enjoy. So, we're going to dive into just different aspects of friendship. And as always, y'all, we always go on tangents, so enjoy the ride. But I want to start really just at the beginning. And I had to think about this for myself too, but what was the earliest depiction of friendship for you both in pop culture? And when you think about those depictions, did those things define the friendships that you wanted, or did they help you determine the friendships that you didn't want? How did you first come to understand what friendship looks like? Anybody take it away?
That's a great question.
I'm taking a sip of my spritz.
The first thing that comes to mind, two things come to mind. One is the Babysitter's Club. I love that series so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then also on TV, when I was a kid, I don't know why, I was obsessed with Saved by the Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And like Zach and Slater's friendship. But they were like always in trouble with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I never wanted that. Because I knew my mom wouldn't like that very much. But like those are like the two things that when I really like reflect, I feel like those are like the two pop culture things that, I feel like were the first representations of friendship that I can remember.
I love that. Saved by the Bell is a good one just because you always got to see like the trouble they got in, but also the ways that they would, and the fights as well.
Yeah,
but then they would
that's true.
always
They had
come back together. They had disagreements. They had like life lessons, but then they were always like a little crew, a crew of friends.
And through seasons, like they were,
Yes.
there was longevity in their friendships.
Yeah. Was that the same for you, Samara?
So similar timing, I think. But I also thought of two things. My first one was Hey Arnold. Because partially, yes, Arnold, and what was his friend's name?
Harold? Gerald?
Gerald?
Was it Gerald? With the flat top? Gerald, yeah.
So the two of them, similarly, I feel like we're always kind of getting into shenanigans and figuring out how to get out of it, and Grandpa was always involved.
Yeah.
But part of it for me was also the Helga piece, because it was a little bit of what you were talking about earlier. It's like this try-hard who's trying so hard to like find her space and find her friends, and they never actually left her out.
Yes.
Like she was always there in her annoyingness anyway. And she was mean.
Okay, but she had a shrine to Arnold. Just remember,
Arnold.
She was harboring a lot of secret emotions. She was harboring a lot of secret shit.
So I thought of Hey Arnold, and then I also thought of the Spice Girls.
Ooh.
Because I think, like, obviously their music, but the movie.
Yes.
Classic.
Spice
should have won an
World.
Oscar.
Okay. I'm a fan, but we're stretching it.
But I think that message of girl power was the thing that really resonated with me. Like, these 5 women who are all so different, who title themselves so different, right? Like, they, like, monogrammed themselves as these individual people, but together created something so beautiful. And even in decades later, the group is not together, etc. Like, you still see how they're integrated into each other's lives in some capacity. And so I think that girlhood piece for me was not a thing that you necessarily saw in other areas of pop culture. It was like just these fierce women who like really didn't care what everybody else thought.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel what's interesting listening to you both is, and it just occurred to me that I wonder if the way people are drawn to friendship is also the themes that are similar, because I'm listening to you both and I'm like, oh, those are the same things I was drawn to, like that sort of, there's fun and there's adventure, but there's a fierceness, there's an independence, there's this like stepping out of the status quo or what's expected of you, but also there's lessons that you're learning from it. You know, like I think there was this appreciation of people and shared gifts and individuality.
There's this growth that happens together, right?
Like, and that is how friendship is often depicted in pop culture for a lot of people.
Are there ones for you that you think
Hey
about?
Arnold was a big one for me. That was a really big one. And I always loved just like, what I really, really appreciated about Hey Arnold was it just wasn't about what the kids were going through. You would hear about what was going on with their families, even where they lived. Like they lived in almost like a project sort of area. So you got to know the neighborhood. There was something communal and familial about that. And I don't know, it's interesting though, listening to you both, because even though that was my perception of friendship, I think about growing up in a Caribbean family, there was a distinction between this is family and this is friends and what you prioritize. And it really wasn't until I got to college that I understood the value of friendship and building like a home away from home in that way. I think a lot of times, at least for me, and you know, in certain households, there's more emphasis put on family and like blood is thicker than water. And I've just had such an opposite experience as I've grown older, where sometimes water is a little bit thicker than blood, you know?
Might need it a little different.
Yeah. So it's interesting now. I feel like an adult, I am almost pulling more from the friendships that I admired or that I desired versus things that were emulated in my actual life, because I have the ability to create that for myself now. But it's beautiful because as I'm listening to you both, I'm like, yeah, that is where like I understood what I wanted friendship to feel like or what it should be or what it should offer. And I think the biggest piece of that was people you could turn to when you need help with something, you know, or if like
when you're in a pickle,
literally when you're in a pickle. So I think that that's always, and it's interesting as a child when you witness that and see that versus as you grow older and you learn to put that into practice of like what it means to be a good friend. Which to that end, I'm curious for y'all, what are, especially because I think about when we've known each other, how long have we known each other now?
Almost 10 years.
Is it almost 10 years? Which I'm glad you said that, Samara. So just to like, again, and this is how I go all over the place, but who wants to share how we met?
Just at work.
Yeah.
Okay, but where was that?
So NYU, we worked this place, NYU.
Okay.
This little college.
And what were you guys doing there?
And Camille and I were having a love affair.
Honestly, believable.
And managing a whole bunch of kiddos.
Yeah.
We worked a lot with our undergraduate population, supporting professional growth and development.
Yes.
I think learning a lot from them as much as we were trying to support and help their growth and development. But I think by the time you started, we hadn't even worked together that long. Mm-hmm. Like we had worked on the same team, but we weren't in this partnership for that long.
Yeah.
You had a different role.
I had a different role.
When I initially started, and then like a couple months later, that's when we actually started working together.
Yeah.
And I think kind of what you said at the beginning, like I remember being in Camille's interview, and we had interviewed a lot of duds.
Yeah, I remember you sharing that.
Like it was just like one after the other, like not people who weren't excited, but just did not kind of fit the culture of the person we were looking to like turn things on their head.
Yeah.
And then Camille walked in this floral suit. I will never.
I didn't know. I've never heard this story.
She was just so vibrant and like so. You felt her energy and her enthusiasm before she even entered the room, and it was somebody who could actually talk about why it's important to support other people, whether they're younger, older, what have you, like, and the experience that she had that came with it. And so I knew immediately, I was like, I want to work with this person. Like, I feel like I'm going to learn from this person. I'm excited to be around this person. And so then when we actually got paired up, it felt pretty organic. I don't know if it's the same for you.
It's so interesting to hear you even say that when I came along, you hadn't known each other that long because, and I've shared this with you both before, but like when I arrived, there was just such a kinship already between the both of you that I was like, oh, they've known each other forever. Like this is going to definitely be something to like break into and crack into. But I also had a similar first impression. Well, we had my interview with you both was like at a taco spot.
I was gonna say, didn't we like we went
it
out
was
to,
like a final.
We went out to eat for Camille too.
Yes.
And this is not what I would ever recommend when hiring people. Like, don't take them to lunch.
They took me to lunch in the middle of the day.
You can't
it
eat.
was about a stone's throw away from where I was working at the time. I was like, well, what's funny is the first interview I took was on the phone, like in the street, because I had nowhere to go. And I was just like, I'm so sorry, there are cabs behind me. But yeah, we ate so close to where I was working that I was definitely a little nervous. And then we're having tacos and whatnot. But
also, finger foods in an interview are not good.
It was definitely an interesting experience. But what I appreciate about you both is that I feel like your energy and your aura was very transparent to me from the jump. Like Camille, to me, I was just like, wow, this is the most even-keeled person I've ever met. Like this, I don't think this person probably like snaps at anybody or yells or gets loud.
It takes a lot.
You know, it takes a lot. And then with you, Samara, my first thought was like, I have a feeling this person will always tell me the truth. That was like the energy that I got. And so when I remember it was my 3rd month in, and I think it was a fall open house, and I
forget this either.
Well, I have 2 different moments for when I became friends with you both that are distinctive to me. Like, I think we always liked each other, but my first was with Camille. And I really wasn't feeling too confident about my performance in general. And let's just say I wasn't encouraged.
The team did not set anyone up to feel good about
I wasn't
work.
receiving support in a way that allowed me to feel like I was doing a good job. So, you know, I was doing my best, but I definitely was feeling a little dejected. And without being prompted, Camille came in and just praised me and was like, you're doing such a good job. But what got me was she said, and you know so much. And I was like, really? I don't feel like I know anything. I feel like I've been failing, and you just lifted me up. But it was in the Camille way of Camille not realizing that that's what she's doing. She's just conversing with me.
The environment at the time, I think it was like weird. There was like invisible bench.
Yes.
That like maybe
fake benchmarks.
Yeah, it's like it was just weird.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I think we bonded a lot over like bad onboarding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And like I've had many like crazy managers, and I just know it's just when you started. You just want to like hear. I knew you weren't gonna hear that from.
It was very affirming.
I'm glad.
But it was also very organic.
True,
yeah. and it put me at an ease that I hadn't been for some time, you know, because you think everyone thinks you're fucking up.
And I think we were so excited to have somebody new. Yeah. Like going through the interview process, like it was so exciting to bring a new person. Because I think your position was unique. Like, it was the job I did before I worked with Camille. But it was still an added position.
And I was so excited to be there because up until that point, I had been working, I was basically doing like social media management and I was doing event planning all on the side.
Right. Yeah.
And when I applied for that job, I actually applied for, I think it was either Joe or Phil's job. It was like a different job.
Right.
I remember.
And the person interviewing me was like, you have a lot of event planning experience. Would you be open to this position? And I was gagged because it's what I wanted. I just didn't think that I would be considered, like I would be qualified because it was not a full-time thing I had done. It was like freelancing.
Right.
So honestly, it was my job at NYU that allowed this to become a career. It's like, oh, now I do this full time. So I was excited to be there, but for that same reason, I was a little self-conscious because I was like, I don't have the same background as other event producers. And that's the thing, Camille, you said that, and then it kind of opened up the floodgates for me to understand where the position I was in from a different perspective. Yeah. You shifted my reality entirely.
I actually had a moment similar to that when I first started because I had never worked in a place, I'm grateful for it, but I had never worked in a place where people didn't have higher ed experience.
Yes.
Because like I came to NYU and I'm like, none of these people know anything about students.
Yeah, girl.
You kept saying, you're like, this isn't how it works.
Yeah, this is not how it works in higher ed. And you know, in the calm Camille way, Camille would just shake her head and go, no, this is not how it works.
We'd be like, is this how it was at your last job? And you'd be like,
no. It's the best. So affirming when Camille would be like, okay, so it is crazy.
Yeah. We're like,
so it was very affirming for me. Yeah. And I think it gave me a safe space where I was like, okay, this person sees my effort, you know? So that alone, I think, shifted and allowed me to feel safe. And then with Samara, which is even funny, I can't even remember where the event was. I just remember that our boss at the time was talking about going to the beach and maybe running into Samara at the beach. And Samara's stark reply being like, no thanks. I'm not trying to see you there. I am not trying to see, and it was specific to this word. I'm not trying to see you there. And in that moment, what that was for me wasn't like, oh, Samara and I were friends. It was like, oh, you're not friends. Because I thought there was like
I pitched myself to the wrong way again.
There's a different sort of exclusivity that sometimes exists in those places. So I was still sussing out like, what is people's relationships to whom? And honestly, really in that moment, it allowed me to register that everybody is their own person and is a singular agent. You shouldn't couple people up before you've actually got an opportunity. And when I did, it's so interesting how it all flipped because
I did feel bad about that moment. I was very reactive.
You were, and you did circle back.
Not to her, I didn't. I didn't ever.
Well, you circled back to me
because you all witnessed this moment that felt like quite aggressive.
Yeah,
and I think it was the culmination of multiple things. And then I was like, and now you're going to be in my personal space? No.
Yes, but I remember.
But I did. I felt
you did feel bad,
and that was not my intention.
But to that point, though, after that moment is when I realized there was a shift because we started coming to each other more. I would pop into your office. We would get in trouble in meetings, Samara and I, because we would be nonstop clowning. And I cannot register when it went from work to life. But there was just something about the way that we showed up for each other in that space where I was like, and that was honestly with that team in general, it really was such a unique experience, the way that we cared for one another.
I say that all the time. I think for me, it was a time in my life, pretty much the whole time I was at NYU, where I had like a lot of family tumultuousness happening.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any way for me to get through it if I wasn't honest and transparent with the people I had to work with every day. And there were a lot of moments where like I had to lean on Camille to do the whole thing because I wasn't,
especially in the work that you're doing, you're taking care of other people's children, you know, who are evolving and growing.
And so it had to
out here
be
living
this
their lives.
kind of immediate trust.
Yeah.
Like, you all know me. I'm not necessarily the person to say like, I'm going to walk away and here's the thing. Good luck. You got this.
Yeah.
My guilt is the immediate thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe I'm leaving Camille to do X, Y, or Z without
Right.
my help or commitment.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm leaving Dash to do X,
Yeah.
Y, or Z without my help. But neither of you ever made me feel that way.
Yeah.
Like never ever did I feel like there was ever pressure or expectation
We just really
of
cared
anything
for one
else
another.
other than to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Actually about transparency and how important it is just like to be honest and upfront with what's going on, because I don't know, just communicating and just getting the things out, it just makes the relationship so much easier.
Yeah.
When you do need to take a step back, or when you do need support from someone else, like I don't know, I never had experienced that in a workplace before, so I was like, oh, okay, that is something I'm gonna like add to my own
Yeah.
toolkit.
It was
for myself.
and it was I mean, every time in life is an interesting time, but I think we went through quite a different kinds of transitions, and just we were there during the time of COVID. Like there was a lot that happened that transpired that I think also kind of just increased this level of closeness.
We had to figure stuff out together.
Yeah, we really did. I mean, we went through even things at work, whether you have people going on maternity leave or you're going through changes in leadership or new staff, new ambassadors. Like there was just so much that I think made it feel so communal and like family. And so it just naturally and organically shifted into a real friendship. And actually I always do an intake form for my guests. And one of my favorite things, Samara wrote, from work bestie to real life bestie. And I was like, that's so true. That's actually, yes, that's what you said. And it was also in that moment. And I said this to my sister recently on the phone. I was like, I, as an adult, I am realizing, like when I was a kid, I would say like, this is my best friend. Yeah. I don't feel the need to say that as an adult. It's just in people's actions and relationships, what I feel safe to share.
It's your tribe.
Yeah. And right here with us three, I don't realize like, oh yeah, I have a very close friendship with these two women and I feel safe with them in a way that I can't say I have with all of my friends, the things that I'm able to share freely, that I open up about that. I mean, earlier on, like there are things that happen to me where I'll think to myself, I have no one to talk to about this. Yeah. And then I get here and I'm like, oh, I actually have two people to talk about this with, But we're adults, life happens and whatnot. But then you get to that space again, and you're like, oh, I do have a space. I do have that source. I do have that accessible to me. And it makes a world of difference. And I think what cemented that for me was our connection. And I know, but I always have to be a little spooky, was finding out that all our parents have
crazy
mirroring birthdays.
I mean, that
freaked
the part
me
where, like,
out.
You can't fight
How did
with
that
destiny.
happen?
Because like numerology is a big deal.
It's a big deal. And I don't remember how we discover it, but just to line out what I'm saying, Camille's mother and my father had the same birthday. And Samara's mother and my mother shared a birthday. And when we found this out, it was like just a continuation of like, we're a trifecta. We're meant to be. Yeah. We're three peas in a pod. We're everything that includes trios, like it was just, but it was also, it was none of those things felt forced. And I say that because I do have people in my life where the friendship can feel a little aspirational or it can feel performative or it feels like you have to make this sort of effort to really make it matter, to make it last. And it never feels that way. No. It just feels like we really respect each other's lives and what goes on in life and when we can be together again and when there are phases where, we have space because there's so much going on. But I've never felt distance.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think, when I think about the three of us, there are things that we talk about and that we navigate through with each other that cause me to grow. Like that give me moments to reflect and to be like, oh, Dash challenged me on that thing. Like, I want to think about that. Yeah. Gosh. Or like, she said this thing and I really want to think about it in a different way because like I'm holding on to it in this way. And now I have a whole different perspective. Yeah. And I will hang out with other groups of friends or individuals. Yeah. And sometimes I will leave those moments and be like, I didn't feel like I grew today.
No, that's real.
That's real. I had a chat with a couple of friends not that long ago. And these are not friends that typically our relationship feels surface oriented or like we're catching up on pop culture. Yeah. And it very much did in this conversation. And I left the conversation feeling frustrated. And I was like, I don't need to be frustrated. This is just a moment. This is a moment in time. Yes. We're having this one moment. But I don't ever feel that way with us. Yeah. Even when we're not talking about anything deep and it is just silly. Yeah. There's never anxiety or anticipation to come and see you guys. There's like, it doesn't ever feel, it is.
It really
easy.
does feel easy. And it also, even when Samara came up to me at Port Authority for us to catch the bus here, you would have thought I saw her yesterday. The way that I greeted her.
Casual.
Like, it was not like, it's literally, she comes up and says hi, and I'm like, oh, hey.
Hey, girl.
Like, it was like, and that's how it always is, though. It's like, we just, and it's interesting to me because we were in a position where we saw each other so frequently. You see each other every day. And a lot of times when you don't work together with friends or things change, so does that dynamic or that feeling. And there's just something so special about the fact that I've never felt that way. It's just, I don't worry. And I have other friends like that in my life, where if we move, let's say we were roommates and we move on, they're nervous. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not worried. Yeah. I'm not worried about that. Which brings me to my next question. I told you I'd get us there. Even though our friendship is what it is, I've also seen us go through different changes in other friendships that meant a great deal to us. Best friends, family members, people who have been integral to our lives. I think we've all seen each other go through dynamic shifts or lose friends or have to let go of friends or even struggle with how to maintain friendships. So I think as you've gotten older, when you look at friendship, what to you is a green flag of, okay, there's effort being made, it's being sustained, versus what's a red flag for you now?
Yeah. That's a great question. Green flag first, because that one popped into my head first.
Okay.
I think for me, it is a lack of judgment, like just a kind of a radical acceptance for wherever the other person is, right? And so whether that is like I'm having a high today, like today feels amazing, and I'm so excited, or I am going through a ton of shit, and I don't know how to hold it. Yeah, you don't want to be around people who are like, oh, she's sad again, or like, oh, can you just like hurry up? What's taking?
Can you get over it?
And so I think a green flag for me is somebody, if I'm like, I'm not up to it today, or can we do this instead of this? Or somebody's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. Sure. And I think with you all like that, this is green flags all the time. Yeah. I don't know that there's a red flag that I could pick from this community of people. But I think if I think about red flags, if I think about it in tandem with that kind of non-judgment, there is a selfishness that happens in friendship. And I think we all have moments where we need to be selfish and take a majority of the time or energy. But with an awareness, I think is important, right? To know that that's what's happening. I had somebody once explain it to me that like in a relationship, say there's two people, everything equals up to 10. Right. So like maybe one day you are a 2 and I'm an 8 and I need from you, but I can't always be the 8. That won't be sustainable. Right. And so I think for me, a red flag is when like the person is always needing to be the center, my agenda, my time frame, my everything. And there's no kind of symbiosis in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. How about you, Camille? Does anything come to mind?
Yeah. I'm going to start red flag.
Yeah. Okay. Flip it and reverse it.
I know this, we may talk about this a little bit later too, just thinking about a friendship that I had that ended and sort of like why that was. But I realized the red flag for me was someone keeping score. Yes. Of like things that maybe maybe I had done wrong. Yeah. And half the things they didn't even tell me that they were bothered by or offended by. So it's just like someone that's gonna like keep score and sort of like hold these grudges. Where I feel like when you have a friendship, you know me, right? Yeah. You know my intentions. Like of course I'm gonna make mistakes. Of course I'm gonna say things the wrong way or whatever. Maybe we don't always get along or agree, but I want you to forget it. I want you to forgive me. 100%. We can acknowledge it. We can talk about it. I'm happy to take accountability. But I think when you hold on to stuff like that for like years and then just throw it in someone's face, I feel like that is a major red flag.
How a person fights, I think, is important. Like the way, because sometimes when you're in a disagreement, of course, sometimes you say things you don't mean, or if you're pointing out something that bothers you. But there are some people who say things to hurt. Yes, that's the goal. Yeah. It's like you hurt me, so I have to hurt. I don't like that. I'm also not for that energy. Like, if I think this is something I've noticed about myself as I've gotten older. I don't shy away from conflict or disagreement because to me, I want to work it out with you together so we can get to a better place. It's not an opportunity for me to shame you or blame you or put you down because I'm not perfect. And when someone doesn't have that same perspective as me, I get confused by that, honestly, because I'm like, to your point, like, I'm your friend.
Right.
Why would I
What is
want
the schoolyard antics?
Yeah, like why would I want to hurt you
And, like,
or
you should be
dismiss
helping
you
learn,
or
helping
yeah,
grow, like,
make me
it's not-
aware so that I can do better next time, not that so you can make me feel bad about it, you know?
I
So
already feel terrible.
I think those distinctions,
Right, and I didn't mean to hurt you.
especially now we're in our 30s, as you get older, there are certain behaviors that I'm like, okay, when we were in high school, I understood that, but we're grown now. So I'm not really sure why that's the way you're moving through it.
Yeah.
I think for me, especially now, I think a green flag, I agree with you both just about transparency and being honest, but I really do appreciate people who do not measure friendships or relationships by like frequency.
Yes.
And
Like
what
time.
I've heard this from several people before. I know people who really struggle to feel secure in their relationships with friends if they're not hearing from them all the time.
Sure.
Or they're not being checked in all the time, or we don't hang out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it's because like I moved away at a pretty young age to another place. Like it's like I've had to learn to have long distance friendships and relationships. And I am the sort of person like I'll check in, you know, I always like to check in, and but if let's say a few months go by before we hang out again, there's never a thought in my mind that, oh, this person doesn't like me or something happened. Like I don't measure my life or my friendships by the frequency of when I'm seeing someone. Even if there's like, let's say a year goes by and I didn't see someone, my first question is, how have you been? My first thought isn't, you don't like me anymore.
Right.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want us to all live in the same building so that like I can come over anytime I feel like it.
oh my gosh, that would kind of be
Wouldn't that be
dreamy.
so
It would
great?
kind of be dreamy.
It'd be like Mrs. Roper and Mrs. Kravitz all
I
got
do.
together.
I do have a dream of like getting to retirement age and all of my friends
Yeah.
like basically live like in this, like it's Barbie's dream house. Like we all live in the same neighborhood and like
$1,000,000%.
we do all our own things, but like when we want to hang out and have like
But it
margarita
doesn't-
night, we can't.
It doesn't, right? 100%. Tequila Tuesdays.
Okay, literally.
But it doesn't. The fact that that's not how we live.
Yeah.
Does not.
It doesn't.
influence the
It
fact-
doesn't influence
Right.
or impact me.
Totally.
And you actually made me think of that, Samara, because I can't remember who we were talking to, but you basically said like, oh, I like talk to Dash and Camille every day. And it was like a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was also like, but we do talk frequently enough that our relationship is maintained. Like, I don't know every day what's going on in your life or like, you know, and I have had friends like that where we text every day, but if it doesn't happen, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think a green flag for me is like when someone shares that sort of same security with me, you know, they trust in a friendship that way. I think trust in a friendship is a big green flag for me. Humor is a big green
Can
flag
we laugh
for me.
at the hard
Can
shit?
we laugh at the hard shit? Like to your point of like, I can come to you with anything, but there are some people you come to, they don't know how to hold what you're handing to them and they don't know how to be, they don't know how to exist. Like it's too heavy.
Yeah.
I've had people in my life tell me like, I'm just too intense. Oh yes.
That's a red flag.
It's just too much.
It doesn't seem like a bad thing to have big
Or
feelings.
that's a red flag. There's another one is I had a friend one time, we were going out and I was just in a really good mood and they were like, I love when you're in this mood. You should be in this mood all the time.
Which then makes you not want to be
Which
in this
I was
mood.
like, what's wrong with the other moods that I'm in? You know, like
yeah, of course.
I was like, I can't always act like we're drunk on the town every day. like, you know, because we're not, you know? So I think that's another thing is people who receive you as you are in the spaces that you are. I think that's really, really, especially as you go through life, as you get older, like life happens, things happen. Yeah. And I think having the capacity for people while knowing your own boundaries is a big green flag for me.
And boundaries are hard and I think are consistently fluid depending on where you are, what season you're in, what you need. What's your green flag? Do you have one?
I was trying to think. I feel like you guys got covered.
Yeah. I mean, our friendship is such a green flag. It's hard to think. It's hard to think about anything else.
Don't be jealous.
Don't be jealous. There was
a understanding.
I think one other thing that popped into my head as you were saying some of that is green flag. Friends who know something that you need before you know it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there were times where you were like our birthday queen at NYU. Like
I was thinking about it the other day.
You did such a great job
really
of like celebrating people and making sure there were cards and desserts and like all these things. And as your food allergy girl, I mean, we live together in this space, all of us in different capacities. like you made sure that there was something for me on my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was cheesy and jalapeno and it was
Yeah.
delicious and it wasn't
Oh,
like your
yes.
standard cupcake.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody who goes that effort to say, I'm thinking about you,
Yeah.
or I've seen that you're having a hard time, or
Yeah.
what have you,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even know to take a moment
That's
to be like,
a
oh,
huge
I was
green
having a
flag.
hard time.
Yeah. Yes. And people, I mean, it's something I'm working on, but I can be such an internal person when I'm going through something difficult, or even like when I'm overthinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes my first thought isn't to reach out
Of
or
course.
like, let me call a friend. There are some people, they go to the grocery store and they're FaceTiming someone. Like that is not like innate for
I
me.
feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, you know, so, but it has become, I think, such, it's been such a benefit for me the last few years to know that I have that option,
Yeah.
but also more importantly, that there are people who literally will text me and be like, I haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
I know you're in your shell. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, not you exposing me. Don't expose
Just let me hermit, would ya?
But I'm the way that my heart is cracking open and learning to love that people know that about me
Yeah.
and aren't trying to change me, but compliment me
Yeah.
instead. Like I know that you might be, you know, feeling in your homebody mood, but just wanted to
Just
check
checking
in
on
on
you.
you. I'm not telling you have to go outside, but I can come to you.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate people who meet you where you are, you know, in your friendships as well. And I think the last piece too, I think is a green flag, is when you can respect how your dynamic might have changed with someone, which to that point, a red flag to me is too much codependence.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like when
We're too
people
old for
are
that.
just
Yeah.
enmeshed or need you to help them with every single thing, like
Make a move without
can't
you.
make a move without you, get upset if you have other friends that you're close to,
Yes.
all of that sort of stuff, jealousy,
You have other friends?
envy,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff I can't handle. But a green flag for me is someone, because the thing is friendships change. You
Yeah.
have friendships you might have been, you've been super, super close. You move for whatever reason. This happens for whatever reason. And then dynamic changes a little, but you still love one another.
Yeah.
I appreciate people who can just flow with the ebbs and flows of friendships and how they change and how they return. I think all of that, just acting grown. That's
Yeah.
a green flag for me. Acting grown.
While also not acting grown. Like,
Okay.
acting grown. However, holding on to that silliness piece of like, we're in our 30s. Will
Yes.
we're in our 30s, or will I forever feel 15?
We are well, I think we're a trio of goofballs, but Samara and I are a specific brand of strange when we're together. Yeah, I do appreciate it. It is very much like thing one and thing two when we're together. We actually did this thing earlier today. I don't think you noticed, but Samara and I will always end up holding hands
Oh, I know.
in some way, shape, or form. We will touch each other's
I like
knees.
that.
Like we are like this is the most queer relationship I have.
And listeners, don't get jealous.
I do want to ask, since we're talking about green flags, if you can. I feel like I shared a little bit, but did y'all have a moment in this relationship where it felt like, oh, this is a green flag outside of work, like not just as a work friendship, or did it just like the shift was so organic? I can't recall.
To me,
Genuinely.
it literally
I'm like, when did
was
we
so-
not?
I
When were we
cannot-
not friends?
Yeah.
I think I have a decent memory, and I cannot recall a time when we, like you said, when we were not just like close up under each other's
Silly.
skin. Because I think that's the dynamic. That was the dynamic of work, like 5 days a week in person,
Yeah.
seeing each other,
Moving
working
stuff.
together.
Pretty intense experiences
Yeah, like,
too,
we were-
like
the
hours and
exposure we
hours
had to-
together.
I do agree with Camille in that, like, I don't really remember a time where we
Like a moment.
were where
Yeah,
we like weren't this.
yeah,
But one thing that I think emphasized that for me, when my dad was really sick, and I
Yeah.
literally had to drop everything and get on a plane same day.
yeah.
And I went to Camille, and then I went to you. Like, you guys were not together at the same time, but I don't think I said a lot of words
Yeah.
because I don't think I could get them out.
Yeah.
And you both just hugged me separately and were like, "Call when you know something.
Yeah.
Call when
Yeah.
you need something.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, go. We got this. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it." And I think living my life up until that point, like, your trauma and your shit was meant to be in the house. It was
Mhm.
private. It was
Yeah,
not
that's how it
stuff
was.
that you told people. It was
Yeah.
stuff that you
Especially
figured out
not
as
at
a
work.
family, especially not at work.
Yeah,
And so because I couldn't just leave and not say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I had to be that vulnerable. And so I
Yeah.
think for doing it the first time outside of my like childhood self and having people respect it
Mhm.
and just
Yeah.
let me take care of what I needed to.
Yeah.
that for me was like truly the ultimate moment.
Yeah.
Because I had other friends in that time who were not doing that.
Yeah, who were not.
And who were
present in
not
that
telling
way.
me to like run and do whatever you need to.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, well, that's kind of set. Like, let's set it and forget it then.
Yeah. I guess we're friends.
I guess we're friends now.
Yeah. I do think also there was just a level of, there was never a time, which what you said earlier, Samara, like, did I share too much? Like, it's not that I never had that feeling, but I never had a feeling that what I shared would be shared anywhere else.
Yes, I agree with you there. I
There
never
was-
thought that you were going to break
There
my
was just a
confidence in
level of
capacity.
security that I felt.
Totally agree.
And like, I think like that was also the same thing for me, where I was sharing more personal things than I really ever had. But it just always felt like the way that it was received was you didn't have an opinion.
It felt normal.
It felt normal.
Yeah.
Or even today, like the response was always like, that sounds like a lot. That sounds heavy. I never felt guilty for what I was feeling, or I shouldn't be feeling it. So I think that was a big green flag for me. But also, I think you both were thoughtful and considerate people with the way that you carried yourself. So I think that was a big part of it for me. I feel like I've seen you both navigate through friendships that, you know, started out in one way, ended up with different outcomes, or you just realized your own boundaries, who you were as a friend, had started to shift, how much you were dedicating yourself to helping someone, taking care of someone, cleaning up their messes, or even feeling heard by them.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you know, maybe thinking about in the time that we've known each other, how do you feel like you navigate your expectations of friendships now? Like what do you require when you think, especially, and maybe I'm just going to say one more thing to that. I think making friends when you're an adult can sometimes feel strange and foreign. It's like you don't expect to do that, or that you may need to. And sometimes you find yourself in a position where you're losing a friend you didn't expect to lose, or you thought this would be a person for life. So now when you meet someone and you're like, oh, this could be a friend, what kind of goes through your mind in terms of what you deem to be a friendship worth investing in and making effort for?
Good question. I feel like I'm probably a little bit too open in some ways. Like I'm like, every person I meet, I'm like, oh, we could be friends.
A true Libra.
Yeah.
Well,
Of course. But I'm always just like, oh yeah, this person could be a friend.
but do you have levels to friendship, Camille?
Yeah, I do. Of course I
Right?
do.
Like you have people who like, you
Like-
see them at parties all the time, you talk to them, but then you have people who you go to brunch with.
Right.
And then you have
there's
people who
I'll
you'd call.
when I need
Right.
something, or
So
people
you have
I
different
confide in,
levels
of
to
course.
friendship.
Yes.
But you could meet anyone and they could be some sort of friend.
like an acquaintance or something like that. But I feel like it's weird to say that because I also don't trust anybody, and I'm always like, well, what's their motive in like trying to befriend me? Like, is there like something they're trying to get out of this friendship, or is it like genuine?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm open to it, but I'm always like just curious and cautious at the same time because of like, you know, just being hurt in the past, or like,
Totally.
things that have happened, stories I've heard. Like,
Right.
so it's like a weird, like open but closed off kind of situation for me.
I get that a lot. And I think, you know, to your question, Dash, we have all experienced the loss of a friend in our time being friends. Like, not us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think having each other to navigate and talk about it with, so that it wasn't happening in a vacuum,
Yeah.
I think also helped for me to like really give perspective to what is the role that I'm playing in this? What is the role that I'm accepting of this? And so I think that's what I think about as I think about new friendships, is like, what am I willing to accept?
Yeah.
Because I think for a long time I was willing to accept a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And I want to be in a place where like I recognize that that's not what I deserve. And I
What
think
do you
that's a
feel
hard.
shifted for you? Like, what do you think that you used to deal with that you no longer deal with as a friend?
I think I never really had an opinion about how we drove the friendship. I think I did a lot of people pleasing and a lot of like, whatever you want to do is what we'll do. And like, if you only want to call me this many times, and that's what I'll expect. And if you said you're going to do this, but you're actually not going to do this, then I'm just going to accept that.
Yeah.
And I think part of that comes from, you know, your own family trauma and your upbringing and what you learn to expect from other relationships in your life. And so I think for me, it's about finding my worth
Yeah.
and figuring out like I am worth more
Mhm.
than this sliver of what you want to offer me. And so I'm similar to Camille in that like I don't really trust anybody, but I'm different in the fact that like I also am not as open.
Yeah.
I am a lot more cautious because I think, and this is something that I'm working on, is like I am protecting myself from the world all the time.
Yeah.
Physically,
You're
emotionally.
like selective.
And I think the thing about losing a friend is there is so much grief in that.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us,
lot
like
more
they were
than
friends,
people
they were our
realize.
everyday person.
Yeah.
They were the person that we went to things with, they're the person we show up for, they're the person that shows up for us.
Yeah.
And who knows if it's one thing or a series of things that shifts and like we grow and move in different directions. But I think having to sit with that by myself and recognize that like alone I am enough. Because I think for a while I defined myself as like, I'm so lucky that that person picked me to be their friend.
Wow.
And like,
Yeah.
why isn't it the other way around?
Yeah.
That person is so wonderful that they get to have me as their friend.
Right.
And so I think that's what I'm learning is how do I swap that perspective a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I gave myself no value.
Yeah. I see
So
that
how can I
shift in you
expect
though.
that other person to give me any value?
I see that shift in you though.
Thank you.
And also just how much I feel like there was a certain point where you just felt so much pain from not being loved and perceived and desired within that relationship in the same efforts that you were giving. And I almost feel like I saw you reach a point where it was like, we're just fundamentally different. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that. And I don't have to try and make it to be something more than that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I had to radically accept that like this is not our season anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that like never again will I not be friends with this person because who knows what life brings into your world and how
But being
people change and
accepting
grow.
of that.
But being also conscious of what I'm going into and I'm going into.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with our friend Phil not that long ago about recognizing that like whatever the situation is in the moment isn't the same thing, even though it might feel the same. So like I'm reacting to something that isn't happening now.
Yeah.
How can I get myself out of that moment?
Yes, which is so important when you do feel yourself shifting in terms of how you carry yourself or what your boundaries are. Because to that end, I would say for myself, a big thing that has shifted, I used to really value or at least see my own value as what can I do for other people? Or like the way that I love someone is by constantly doing something for you, solving things for you, fixing things for you, showing things for you, caring for you. But I got to a point where it was, who am I outside of that to you? If I didn't do those things, would I still be of value? Yeah. Would we still have some sort of presence within each other's lives? Yeah. And when you start to feel the distance of that and realize the truth that may not be the case, sometimes that's the most painful thing. But to your point, it is also, how did I play into that dynamic? I think a big one for me that I didn't really require people to apologize to me. I would forgive them. Yeah. Because in my head, it was like, I already know it was tough. I know you didn't mean it. Yeah. So, we can move past it. It was almost like I was too forgiving almost too immediately and not processing the impact on me.
Yeah.
Or what resentment, or what pain or what hasn't been acknowledged, which isn't, that's not that other person's fault that I'm not speaking up because I'm just willing to let it slide until it gets to a point where I'm like, oh, I really wasn't really able to let it slide. Yeah. So I feel like even the expectations I have of others also helped change and evolve the expectations I have of myself on how I want to be a good friend or what may lead to the dissolution, of a friendship. So that I think I've learned a lot from friendships that have ended because of that, like how I was playing into that.
I also never thought that we wouldn't be friends.
Yeah.
So I think that, right. And it's not that yes, when you're in grade school and high school, your friends come and go, but I think
there's
also,
certain people in your life.
Yeah. And my mom has a set of friends from her childhood, which is not necessarily normal in today's society.
Yeah.
So I've watched them go through a mountain of things.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I ever thought we're not going to be friends. You're not going to be my person.
Yeah.
And so that awareness and that grief also was recognizing for myself, I am terrified of loss. And so if I welcome in more friends, that's more friends for me to grieve.
Right.
So I'm trying to find that balance.
So true.
and not be so afraid of my grief, because I am terrified of it. I am terrified of more
and
pain.
People do not speak about the loss of friendships, and I
hurts.
don't think, I mean, I think a huge exploration for me these last few years, for obvious reasons the listeners knows, has been around grief. But grief takes shape in so many different ways, and I think sometimes people don't think that they've experienced it if they've not lost like a close family member. But if you lose a friend, sometimes even a best friend, that can sometimes have a similar sort of pain, like that sort of loss that you experience. And and it's a wild thing as you get older. When you experience it, I do feel like sometimes it's more jarring on the system, because you're like, oh, I don't know why in my head I thought that this would be a forever thing.
Right. The thing is, like, there's what is that saying that, like, when you break up with your partner, it takes you like half the time that you were together for you to get over whatever. Like, right? So like, there's some saying. I
used to believe in that, and I was like, I need to cut that short, because I'd be doing long-term relationships, so that would be a lot.
I was in a relationship for 10 years.
That's 5. Wake it up. Wake it up.
But I think they don't necessarily, there's no like blanket that you can put over when you're friendship.
There's not.
Like, they're not like, oh, you'll get over it. Like, you almost feel more connected to that person. There's a different set of intimacy.
And it's almost more of a gray area. Because I feel like when you go through a romantic breakup, there are a billion things you can watch. There's a billion things that are said on social media. I feel like friendship is not spoken as openly when you go through that sort of breakup, and what it's like to like
wake up thinking about it, to go to bed thinking about it, to have it knotted in your stomach, to have it prevent you from eating.
It's
like,
a very
all the things.
It's like, I think something I saw recently is that, you know, because we're in an age where we say situationship and this and that. All those things are relationships. Like, everything is a relationship, including a friendship. So how you nurture it, how you take care of it, how you go through the loss of it, all of it is more defining and impactful than I think sometimes we give credit to. And I do think as people are getting older, they realize the value of their friendships more. I think especially in a place like New York, where friends are chosen family. Like, for a lot of people who come here, whether they're running away from something or trying to discover something, New York can feel like a very transient environment. Jersey too, which is where we are at currently.
That's my home state.
But, you know, city places, those sorts of places, it can feel very transient, and it's helpful when you find your community, when you find people who you can relate to. And I feel like oftentimes, like, at least for me, because I am a New York transplant, 13 years, but still, it wasn't until I moved to New York, and I also had the ability to discover myself, that when I was making friends in adulthood in my early 20s, I was like, oh, this is so different from when I was a teenager and what I desired and what I looked for, right? So even these last few years, of course, I had many of my childhood friends. I had many friends from college, but the people who have really been carrying me through the season are the people who I've become friends with here. I mean, you two I called you. I informed you the night of, like, and that was just not even and it wasn't even a second thought, you know. It was like, these are the people I'm going to come home to. These are the people who are going to literally help me physically stand up because my ankles are weak, you know? So I think so much of how I've nurtured my relationships, my friendships in adulthood, and how, yes, it does tie back to the Hey Arnolds and you know, all those pop culture things, but there's a different level of depth that life has added to it that I just take in so differently and I have gratitude for so differently. Like, my friendships enrich my life, you know? Which is why I think it's all the more important that you are so cognizant and mindful of the energy that you keep in your circle. I think the worst thing you can do is remain in a friendship out of obligation or that's something that you're supposed to do. So I'm curious on that end. Now, how would you describe your approach to nurturing your friendships? Like, what's your favorite way to tell your friend, like, I love you, I'm here for you, I'm present for you? Like, how do you like to be a friend?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I love when people say that. People always say that's a good question to me.
Well, next time I'm going to say that's a terrible question.
No!
I'm just kidding. Friends. you said something before about situationship, and I think it's interesting because I think we put a lot of pressure on labeling things, right? Just in general as a society, like we have to put a label on it. And so we're just going to define it as a situationship because it's not serious.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, there's human feelings involved. I think at any point in that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, number one, like I like to check in on how people's day is. Like, what are you doing?
You
I
too.
just like to know what
Samara
you're
is.
doing. I think also it happens like when I'm feeling disconnected.
Yeah.
And so I want to be like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel connected to the specifics of what you're doing, but I feel connected to you as individual humans.
Yeah.
And then I think it's what you said. Like I love to tell my friends I love them.
Yeah.
Like I really like if I'm not going to say it if I don't mean it.
Yeah.
But like I really love my friends, and I would love a man in my life, but that man has to add to everything that exists.
Yeah.
He can love
absolutely.
my friends. Like he can't replace something that
it's
exists.
complementary.
And so like I'm in this moment where I'm like, well, you only have so much time in the week. And so many days where you want to do stuff. Well, I want to do stuff with my friends.
Yes.
I don't necessarily want to figure out how to like meet somebody new.
Yeah.
I want to enrich and love on these people that I love on so much already.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to feel fulfilled by.
Yeah.
For me now, it's like, how do I take that and allow it to exist in other places too?
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
But I like to
that
flat
is
out tell you.
I was like, I forget. Like I tell my parents that all the time. Like I tell my partner all the time, but I don't know what it is about friends where I'm like, oh yeah, like I love you.
It's a
I
given.
just never say it.
Yeah.
For a reason. But I think for me, I love, and I know everyone's like a little bit different, but I try to think of like what I would like and kind of do it to other people. So, just like showing up for people, supporting them in whatever way, or like, for example, Olga recently got like a promotion. So I brought her flowers to the office just because I just feel like these are like big moments.
We deserve to celebrate.
Yeah, like we celebrate when people get pregnant and when people get married and all these things, and I feel like those are not the only things that are.
This is huge.
Yeah. Like, I don't see why we shouldn't, like rally around each other in those moments. So it's like just like those thoughtful things, just showing like you told me something. I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you, and I want to like give you a gift.
Yeah.
Like, celebrate the thing.
Yeah.
You do. You're great at celebrating and reminding people to celebrate themselves.
My favorite thing to do. I love birthdays probably just as much.
You
as
love a party.
I love.
You love a
I
celebration.
love a theme.
You love yes. Oh my gosh, that is how you are friends.
It's so great.
And it's always such a great experience.
Be in a room with people who you just like love so much and you want them to meet each other and like also love each other.
And it's also so telling about the individual, in this case you,
like
when you're meeting the different circles of people and you're like, all these people are a reflection of my friend who I think is wonderful. And it's like, look at all of these wonderful people that she has selected to be in her world.
So true.
And I get to be one of them in this space.
Yes. I think the highest compliment that I've heard for myself and for other people is like meeting a friend of a friend and they're like, well, if you're friends with this person, I know you're good people. And that's how I feel about you, Camille. Everybody I've met in Camille's life, I'm like, oh, so I'm part of the family. so I'm a cousin now. So I'm also a cousin.
Where's my stamp? I didn't get a stamp.
That's the one thing about Camille. Camille's family is friends. Like all the cousins,
Totally.
like everybody hangs out.
Complicated things for me, I think.
Really?
Yes, because growing up, I never I had friends in school, but like I think you were saying this earlier too. Like those things family and friends never really mixed.
Totally.
Yeah.
So like even when I was in college and my some of my younger cousins were in college as well, and they were bringing their friends from college to like the family parties, and I was like,
stranger danger.
I've never thought to do that before. Like it just seems so separate.
And I'm glad you separated it.
No, but
I had awkward experiences growing up mixing friends and family.
Oh, me too.
It just
100%.
Which is ironic, but it was more like cultural differences.
Yes, that's
just
exactly
like,
it was always the cultural difference.
Now as an adult, I'm like, whatever. Everyone's grown. You should know how to mingle
and if you don't, this is the last time you're invited.
To the point about the man, you need to be able to get along with everyone.
I understand exactly what you mean. Like I spent my whole growing up like with my cousins, like every family function constantly, and like they all still live very near each other, and I don't, and so they are still very intermixed with each other.
Yeah.
Am I jealous?
A little bit.
And I'm
a little bit.
like, oh, I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I also recognize like we live in very different worlds.
Yeah.
My goals in life were very different
Yeah.
in that moment.
Yeah.
Are our goals in life different now? Not necessarily, but when we were 16, 18, 20, sure.
Yeah.
And so it was then having to define, wait, does this friend come home?
Yeah.
It
It literally
Does this-
never occurred
Huh?
to me.
didn't.
that you
When
could
people would
a
invite me
friend.
to their house
When
for
I
like
graduated-
sleepovers, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I hated when they were like, oh, I'm just going to come over. I'm like, no.
You just
You
don't
cannot,
drop
you
by here.
cannot,
We
you
do not
cannot
drop by.
drop by.
Call my mama.
This
I
needs
have to
to
ask
be
her permission.
planned. My mother's going to want to make plantains and
You're gonna have to talk to your
yeah,
mom.
to
Correct.
your mom.
Also,
Like
just
we,
parents.
when there's no parents, like there was just too, I had way too much structure and rules to just like have friends over. I wasn't doing sleepovers. I
Y'all,
wasn't doing any of
When
that.
I graduated from high school, we
All
had
that-
a graduation party, but we had it at one of my auntie's houses because like
Yeah.
I didn't live in a house where people could come over.
Yeah.
Like it was big enough to host people, and so like my whole family was there, all different walks of generations of family,
Mhm.
from like the grandparents to the little biddies,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends had so many questions. And I was not prepared for like all of the questions
They
because
have.
this is my life, my whole life. Where
Yeah.
have you been?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you haven't been invited to all of the like family gatherings.
Never.
So like you
what
didn't.
were their questions?
They were like, oh, who's that? And how's that person?
Oh,
related? And
okay.
who's this? And
To be fair, I did that.
but I don't think I knew it was going to happen because I was like, well, this is just my family.
Right. So real.
And I was so taken
You're
aback.
so
like
right. That
I
happened
remember
with me as well.
separating myself from the party and like going to sit in a bedroom and having to like calm my
Yeah.
energy because I was like, what do you mean? Who are these people? These people are my family. What are your questions?
That's so, and it's interesting because you compartmentalize your life in certain ways, so it makes sense to you. But then
Yeah.
when people are immersed in different parts of
and like
it,
no one was asking rude questions or
Right,
bad. Like
right.
people are just
Right.
coming
It's
in a
just
place
like
of
you-
curiosity.
and you're
They're
like-
too much.
yeah, and you're like, you should be enmeshed already. You're all in my
What
life.
don't you understand?
You're all in my
Just
life.
yes. No.
No, I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you
Nice.
this. I'm very grateful. I have to thank New York and the friends I have here for shifting my perspective around friendship and like valuing in the way I do, because I'll tell you this funny story. When I was when I was turning 16, my parents allowed me to have a sweet 16, which I had to explain all of that
course.
to them. Like,
Very
what is this?
American.
What is a sweet 16?
What is
And it was the first child. No,
You're a monster.
no, y'all. They literally, my sweet 16 was on a different day than my birthday, and on my
Sure.
actual birthday, my parents did not do anything.
Because they're like, you're having a party.
Literally, they were like, "Well, you're having a sweet 16 this weekend. We spent all our money there. Why
What
would
did
we?
you want?
Why would we do anything?" And I remember Nike being like, "You didn't get a cake,
Like no special dinner,
no
like
cupcakes, nothing." They were like, "Well, we have the cake for this," and I was like, "It's fine. It's okay."
That explains so much.
It explains a lot. But for this sweet 16, it was the first time that I had really, actually, I had done a different party like that when I was younger, like in 5th grade. Any significant birthday, I was like, oh, I need to have all my friends there. So like
Sure.
when I turned 11, no, when I turned 10, because
I
it was
why
double.
11? I was like, why
10.
11?
When I turned 10, because it was double digit.
I missed something at 11, and let's rewind.
No, it was
You
definitely
just
10. It was
Yes.
definitely 10 because I
10's
turned
a big
double
deal. 10's a big
digits.
deal.
And then 16 because
Yeah.
when you're American,
Americans.
16 is huge. But it was the
Americans.
first time that like I really like would have my friends in the space. So I remember I invited my friends from school, and these are all American kids. I'm living in freaking Coral Springs, Parkland. It's like all white kids.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them were dating at the time, and they would not stop making
Ugh.
out on the couch
No.
at my parents' house.
No.
16, I'm not allowed to date. I will never forget my mom pulling me into the guest room, and she said, I don't know who your 2 little friends are, but you need to tell them to stop locking lips before I do.
My mom would have said
So
too.
it was not enjoyable because I spent that
You're stressed.
birthday telling people like,
Stop
please don't
kissing
do that
me.
here.
Yeah.
Please stop staring at them, auntie. Yes, that is a regular white person you're looking at. Like I was at 16, I'm like, micromanaging.
That's
all
kind of what I'm talking about in my graduation
and that's
party.
that's how
Totally.
I felt about friendships for a long time. Like I have to micromanage myself in different environments and in
Yes.
different worlds.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I think just as I got older, as you become comfortable in your own skin,
Yes.
as people become older, now it's no thing. When
Yeah.
for my 30th, that was
Yeah.
beautiful. I had
That
all
was-
my friends there. I had my family
That was
there.
great.
And it was it was such a like 360, 180. What is it you say? When it's
180.
180?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then
If you're
we'd be
360,
right
back
back
where
to
you
where we were.
started.
Oh my God, I rebuke it. It was a 180, and it was like wonderful because first of all, traffic was happening, so I was late, and everybody was there before me, and it was beautiful to come into that
Even
space
better.
and see all the people
we
from
were
all
all
my walks of
chatting
life
already.
just chatting, engaging with each
I'm
other.
pretty sure I went up and hugged your parents, and they were like, "Who is this person?"
But I have such this beautiful video of like everyone's talking, and you just see my mom and dad in the background, just like gooped, like what is happening? Like who are all these people? But they're smiling.
We're like, we love.
They're smiling, and it was beautiful for them to witness. Like, look at this life and this home and this family that she's created for herself.
It gives them peace of mind.
Yes, I think it was a great comfort to them to see like that I was surrounded by such beautiful, loving, caring people.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm grateful that even as things have shifted, we've gotten new jobs, relationships, losses, all these things, like those things have still continued to sustain and just be a stable part in my life. So I'm really, really just grateful for all of that. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this was so I'm at our last question, and like I'm just thinking about everything we spoke about, and it's just when I was FaceTiming my sister when I got here, something I said to her that I didn't realize it in the moment, I was like, these are two people who, and I said it earlier in this conversation, but like I was like, I share like some of the things that feel like the hardest or the most detrimental or like just like dense in my spirit sometimes. And I come here and I'm with you two, and I immediately soften. And the things that I was worried about that I couldn't say out loud, or the things that would bring down the environment, it's like you guys are a soothing balm for my soul. You're like the chicken soup for my soul.
I feel so similarly.
You remember Chicken Soup for the Soul?
I do, and then they had too many books.
Yeah.
We got too deep.
Yeah. And because
dog lover soul.
Oh my god, they really do for the dog lover soul. They have it's too much of a series. It's gotten a little bit. Y'all are the OGs. Y'all are the OGs. And because it has to be mentioned, I think my favorite thing from our friendship is that no matter what we're dealing with, we always offer each other an escape plan.
Yeah.
I told you the Spice Heist would come up, and it started when we were at NYU. Logic wasn't logicking, and even where we work now, logic does not logic. And I love that, to your point, Samara, if we're ever feeling nosy or we want to check in and something crazy is going on, the first thing we'll say is, who's going on the shit list? Or who do I need to beat up?
What time do you need me there?
Or when am I getting the van? What's the escape
Camille,
route?
get your car.
Make sure you don't tell so and so, because you know they'll spill. They'll spill and they'll gab. So I think
we have had to take people off the heist list because they'll get us in trouble.
Absolutely.
I'll name my mom.
Go
I
ahead.
told her she's not allowed to be on the
screaming.
heist.
I just
I was not expecting.
Because I told her flat out. I was like, I love you. I said, but you're gonna when you get arrested as the getaway driver.
It's true.
You're gonna be like, well, this is where they went, and they will be there at this time, and this is what they were wearing.
This is what the itinerary was.
And I'm like, see, you can't.
And this is the reason why they were leaving. This is what she told me last
Exactly.
night.
She goes, no, I'll tell them the opposite. And I was like, you're gonna get confused about what the opposite
the pressure will be too high. It really is. It really is selective.
Right. I was like, so the better thing is, I'm just not going to tell you about it, so that you don't have any information to lie about. Exactly.
I would recommend to anybody listening, though, that you find people in your life who you'd be willing to go on a spice heist with.
Totally.
Like, for real.
Yes.
Honestly, it's pretty essential.
In all truth, if it was dire, my mom could come. We just might all end up in jail.
And that's okay, as long as we're together, 3 peas in a pod. This speaks to the different strengths that people have. I was going to say too that I think the way that I nurture friendships now is I've always been in person, like, let's find time to like be with each other and be present with one another. But I think to your point, to both your points, I like finding out what makes someone happy and capitalizing on that.
Like, I could sit and do this with you all the time. Yeah. Like, I don't have to. I could literally sit on the couch and just talk about it.
Anyways.
No, but I think it's that simple. Sometimes for me, I'm like, well, I could just check in on someone and see how they're doing and see what they need. Mm-hmm. And also, recently I had a friend reach out to me. Were listening to a different episode of the podcast. And in that episode, I spoke about during COVID how innately the people you were living with, it's either you got really close to them or you realized we shouldn't have been in the same space. Like people were having these stark realizations about relationships and dynamics, and everything was almost like in hyperspeed, in a pressure cooker. And it just so happened for me, I was very lucky that when I started in the pandemic, the people I lived with, it was a little bit of a struggle bus, but by the end, I had just cultivated such a beautiful relationship with my roommates.
And your new roommate, Phoebe.
Yes, I became a cat aunt, whom I still love to this day. Can you believe she's turning 6 years old?
Yeah, her and Max are the same.
Literally, yes. They're. I hope they meet one day. We'll see. But one of my roommates, and I'm still friends with all of the people who I lived with, but interestingly enough, I have a different dynamic, right? Yeah. One of them, I see her all the time. We're very close friends. We collaborate on things together. Another one, now and then I'll reach out, check in and see how they're doing. Another one, here and there we'll see each other.
Sure.
One of them reached out to me and was like, I was listening to that episode and I saw, I'm hearing you talk about how close we were during COVID, and I wonder if you think our relationship is still the same or if it's just because, and it was so interesting to me because I could have interpreted it many different ways. But what came out of the conversation was, do you want to see me more?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to spend more time together? Yeah. Is that what you need? And I also think that's an important way to nurture friendships is when a friend reaches out to you, and even if they're upset or it seems like one thing, do the investigative work and see what it really is. Because sometimes people just need more of you or just need more of your presence or need your presence in a different way. And that's also an important part of sustaining, friendships and relationships that matter to you. Make space for each other's needs and each other's boundaries and each other's evolution. Things change and it's okay. And that was the last thing I said to them too, because they were like, I'm worried that our friendship isn't as close as it once was. And I said, the fact that you could reach out and ask me, can we do this more? Or I'm feeling this way means that we are. Yeah. And I think it's important to remind ourselves of that too.
That's a great point. And I also think as adults, in quotes, whatever that means, I think I'm not spending time on friendships of convenience.
Correct.
Right? Like that's not what I'm investing my time into.
Yeah.
Like if we're friends, there's some investment that I'm putting in and then something that I'm expecting from you.
Yeah.
Friends of convenience are the people that I'm sitting at work with and we're chatting in the kitchen.
Yeah. Literally.
Right? Like that's very different. Yeah.
The next person at work who randomly listens to this is going to be like, really? I thought we had a great conversation in the kitchen.
We did. Conveniently.
Okay. Are y'all ready for the last question?
Yeah.
It's okay to take your time thinking on it. Okay. When you think about home now, in your body, your relationships, your friendships, what does that mean to you at this point in your life? I see you thinking over there too, Chase.
That's a deep one, Dash.
It is, which is why people sometimes try to rush, and I'm like, it's okay. take your time. It is a hard question, or it's an expansive question.
Yeah.
Flip
it and reverse it.
You can flip it and reverse it. I was going to say it honestly changes with each conversation and with each topic. Yeah. So like for this, when I'm thinking about home in terms of friendship, I think for me, it is security.
Yeah.
That's what I would say home feels like now when it comes to my friendships, because as I've navigated such major shifts in my life, speaking to what we said before, I've come to a place where for me, it's not always the case that blood is thicker than water.
Yeah, of course.
And I've gone through such transitions in my life where people who I've met when I was 16, when I was 18, when I was 30, have shown up for me in ways that I never would have imagined.
Yeah.
And offer me just like a sense of acceptance. I feel seen in all the ways that I am. And it allows me to kind of put my own insecurities, my own hangups aside and show up and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that is because those people help me feel secure.
Yeah.
So for me, my friendships, and that's even like when I think romantically, I have the most secure I have felt in my life are through my friendships, not even intimately. There is a way that like I experience intimacy and unconditional love, goofiness, like the ways that I can express myself, that I can show up, that I can be self-conscious about in other dynamics and relationships. And I don't have that in my friendships. I just come as I am, you know? So it is, in some ways, friendship is almost like an example of faith to me, an example of forgiveness, humility, grace, all those things, all the traits that I admire, I learned through friendship. And to me, you know, all those things lend itself to security. So that's what I would say.
That resonates with me too. I like that.
Ease keeps coming up. I know we were talking about that earlier.
Which is how I describe you. That's the word I think of when I think of you. So it's kind of funny that you say that. Yeah, that's how I think you nurture friendships, Camille. You make everything easeful to me.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel like a task or like this like big thing to like reach out to a friend or connect with a friend. It should just feel easy the way like
2 hours to sit down and do this.
It really did. And I had to remind them, y'all, that we came here to
like,
record
we're
this
starting
episode.
at 4.
And they were like, oh, that's right. We're not here just catching up and drinking.
I want you to know, you also conceded immediately. You were like, well, I mean, we can start at 4:30.
I said we don't have to, though. I literally was going to be like, we can record another time. We can absolutely record another time. It's totally fine. Totally fine to hang out. If you're not in the mood, it's totally okay. It's totally fine. That's so true.
It's so easy for us to kind of like fall back into like NYU, see each other every day, where we're laughing and joking and just sharing. And I feel like that is like the most important thing. When you were telling the story about your Sweet 16, I had this weird experience when I was in 3rd grade. I started a new school. This is why I never invite friends over. I forgot about this.
I've never heard this story.
So we lived in this like really small apartment because New York, right? And I invited this girl from my class. She comes over, and I remember like her parents like walked her up the stairs, and like they were just like looking, like I could just see it in their eyes. They were like very uncomfortable.
Oh no!
Right? They're all so white, and like my family is obviously Black and Jamaican and whatever. So they come in. And then she goes, I was like showing her my bedroom, which like I love. It had Little Mermaid wallpaper.
See, that's why we're friends. I too had Little Mermaid sheets.
You are
and
mermaids.
I am a mermaid.
I'm only friends with mermaids, so that's why.
It all makes sense.
So she comes in and she says, "This is your room."
Oh, hell no!
Like, basically, like, where's the rest of it? Because it was a really small.
I would have been in heaven. In your
Where was the rest of it?
I was so happy because
Girl, you.
And I was like, I have my own room. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
you're like, this is big living.
But
literally,
I felt like I had to kind of like try really hard to like, oh no, there's like a upstairs. Like I don't even. It's so hard, especially with like this friend.
Yeah,
because I felt like, you know, obviously she had more resources than I did, and I felt like I had to try to kind of like prove that I was like worthy enough to be her friend, or like
she put shame upon you.
That I had never felt shame about my beautiful.
You're so young.
Yeah, 8 years old.
Yeah, girl. We're like 5 feet tall. How much room do you need?
In 3rd grade, you were 5 feet tall. Shit, girl, get it.
I said 2 feet before. And
this girl was definitely not 5 feet tall in 3rd grade.
Camille, that's true. I picked the wrong number. I was
She hit
thinking of
8
myself.
and said, "This is it. I'll stop growing up."
I was thinking about me. My bad. Camille is my resident mini M&M. My bad.
Who thinks everyone's the same height as her?
Oh, you're 6'1".
When you're sitting down,
oh my gosh,
really
me too. That's crazy. So you run into things too. Same.
Do people just randomly pick you up?
I'm always having to grab things from the top shelf for people. It's not. It's relatable. That was entirely the wrong.
A bowl today, climbing. Anyways,
truly the wrong height for me to give.
She goes. Some kid asked us how tall we were. She goes 5'1". I said 5'4". She goes, no. I was like, yeah. She goes, we're the same height. I was like,
we're not. We literally go in sequential order.
We can see.
I hate that though. I'm glad that I hope that's changed for you now because you clearly welcome people into your space.
Yeah, because you guys really showed me that people are tall. And
I'm screaming.
Attention.
Me in particular. I never do that.
I think she was talking about letting people into your.
I was
after Mermaid.
But the height thing works too.
Yeah.
Letting tall people into your home is also important.
Nice. It was nice for her to let you in today.
Thank you for letting me in today. I appreciate that. I actually love your home. I have nothing to complain about. I'm zero
I'm
complaints.
pretty
girl.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm pretty disappointed that your room is not full for me.
I was gonna say we're in the seashell.
Otherwise, it's fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Samara? Wait, do you have anything else to say?
No, it was just, I feel like that's what, like, when I think it's
What
like
comes
ease,
to you?
but also just like, I think we talked about earlier, like, no judgment.
Yeah.
Just like,
That's what
Celebrating
feels
each other.
home for you.
Yeah.
I think ease is a good one, especially like as you get older. I think something I've realized is whoever I welcome into my space, please don't complicate it further.
No.
Don't add stress. Like you're
No.
either here to alleviate it, or really that's it, alleviate it or comfort. But like
don't be
ease
bad
is a big one.
Yeah.
I think that's a great one.
And there's something about having your friends come over in their pajamas or hangout clothes and like, this is all we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And like, that's not everybody in my world. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want everybody coming over in their comfies. We're not staying here.
Yeah.
Don't sit down.
sit down.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Screaming.
For me, I think the home piece is something I'm a little stuck on because I think for me growing up, like home did not feel like a safe place.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like I didn't bring people home. I think I kept a lot of secrets about home.
Yeah.
And I think even as an
Likewise.
adult, like probably well into my 30s, like home was still a thing where there was a lot of shit and people didn't need to see behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, significant others, what have you. And so I think for me now, at this phase in my life, I resonate with both of you and what you said. I think there is a safety in friendship that is what you want to expect from home.
Yeah.
Right? Like home. And I think this now about where I live. Like I was sitting in my apartment yesterday and I was like, I feel safe here. Like I have worked really hard to feel safe in the place that I live.
Yeah.
And so having friends that add to me feeling that kind of safety.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I hate being home by myself. I get a little scared. It just gets a little like at night, especially noises go bump in the night. What's
Truly a
happening?
New York child.
I think having friends where I can say like, oh, my mom's traveling for 10 days and I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Or like that my
Can you check in
foundation
on
of
me?
home is
Yeah.
being rocked a little bit because I've worked really hard for home to
I
feel
love
safe.
that.
And so I think having friends that add to that safety feeling versus having friends in a community where I had to keep them 15 feet away.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm trying to
That's
be
so
different
special.
as a grown.
I'm listening to you, and what I'm hearing as a through line is your friends help you to stabilize your nervous system.
100%.
Like they help you regulate your life.
Yes.
And
Because I think my home life was very inconsistent and a little bit volatile, and my friends were not, or they were for a while. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like
Sure.
we all have that group of girlfriends too. There's a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's different.
Yeah, but we're also
Yeah.
young and like you fed off the drama a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think now it is absolutely like who is going to help me feel centered and help me feel
Yes.
grounded, because it's very easy for me to feel out of control.
Yeah.
And I don't want more people in my life where I'm like, wait, where are we going?
Yes. Oh, I love that. I think that was fab, actually.
Well, thank
And that was a
you. I
beautiful,
appreciate it.
beautiful way to answer that question. And I want to thank you both,
Mm.
ladies. My ladies.
Truly,
thank you.
it's such an honor.
I really
Like
appreciate
watching the podcast grow for you from a name, like kind of like Cocktail Snob, like it was
for
like
real. When
you
that was a
like-
nameplate.
you
Remember it
had
was
a
a
moment,
nameplate?
and we were pretending to make fake commercials.
Yes.
We were like snackables by Snackable.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad it made it in. I'm
Yeah.
keeping
We
that.
did. We had fake stickers.
Because that's how you increase your
So,
marketing.
Well,
you make people
maybe it should be a
believe.
real one. Fresh Farms brought to you.
I was like, will this help increase my listenership if I have fake ads in here?
Yeah.
It'll make
But
it
to,
seem
like,
official.
To like see all the growth and all of the work and intention you've put into it, like I feel honored to be part of the process.
Appreciate. I knew when I really was so happy when I arrived at you two for this conversation, because I think in my journey in New York, you two very much represent my growth professionally, but also personally. There are many ways that I admire you and I look up to you and that I've learned from you both. And when our friendship first started, I did feel a little bit like the third P, in the sense of like the littlest one, like the youngest sort of sibling. And as our relationship just continues to grow, there's an equality that we experience. And there's a way that we encourage each other, that we affirm each other, that we inspire each other, that for me just feels kismet, you know, and it's just not something that I ever worry having to go without.
Yeah, I agree.
And so
there's a picture of the three of us. We have a lot of pictures of us, but it's from your book launch party.
Oh,
you know
my
it.
favorite.
I
We've
love it.
gifted
It's
it
an
to each
ornament.
other in various capacities. The picture is like the epitome of what our friendship is.
Yeah.
Like we're just laughing at who even knows what. I think Chase and his picture taking ability. Like I think we gave him a lot of shit, and then he was like, "Look at this beautiful picture I took of you." But it does, like, that really epitomizes, I think, the joy and the humor, to your point, that we are constantly trying to infuse. And like we were celebrating, we were having a great time, but I think
because we had stopped together.
Yeah.
But I think we keep coming back, and any time we're together, like we come back to that exact mentality.
Yes.
Whether it's months or weeks or days.
Yes. So I guess I will wrap this up by saying that while I am part of Kashmir, I hope that everybody finds themselves a Chimera. I hope everybody finds themselves a Camille and a Samara in their life. I hope everyone finds someone who they would be willing to go on a spice heist with, you know, someone who allows them to feel lifted up in life in the moments that you need, you know, and just helps you be better. That's what I wish for everyone. I wish friendships that nurture us, that inspire us, and that allow us to feel at home in ourselves and at large. And I thank you for listening to another episode of Just a Dash. Thanks, everybody. Catch you on the next one, sweet peas.
Good.